will erase my board. On page 136, summarize. A rate is a type of ratio in which the units represents itself in different quantities. A unit rate is attempting to define those quantities per one. So whatever your first number is, your second number will always be 1. Unit means 1. Same thing with a unit price. A unit price is the price of an item or hour or whatever of 1. Unit means 1. For lesson 3.2, we will be skipping the apply problem. Let's look at page 137. It is our practice page for this module. For exercises 1 through 4, identify the description as a rate, unit rate, or neither. Number 1 says $22 per day. Is this a rate, unit rate, or neither? Very good. This is a unit rate. Also can be called a unit price. Now let's look at number 2. Number 2 says 37 miles. Is that a rate, a unit rate, or neither? I hope you said that it is neither, because that would make you correct. All it says is 37 miles. It doesn't say per hour, per day, nothing. So it is neither. Number 3 says $16 for 5 hours. So $16 to 5 hours. This is a what? It is a rate. Very good. The reason it's not a unit rate is because it doesn't have 1 in there. If it had a 1, it would be a unit rate. So number 3 is a rate. Very good. Let's look at number 4. 65 words in 1 minute. I wonder if that is a typing speed. Anyways, is this a rate, unit rate, or neither? Very good. You saw that it was per 1, making it a unit rate. Awesome job. Let's go ahead and look at number 5. Margaret earns $27 a day for walking 3 dogs. Use a double number line to show the relationship between the amount of money she earns and the number of dogs she walks. So it said to find the relationship between the amount of money, so money comes first, to the number of dogs, so dogs come second. Make sure that you're always paying attention to the wording of those problems. Now, she earns $27 for walking 3 dogs. 3 dogs, $27. Find the unit rate. We know that in order to go backwards, we must divide. 3 divided by what gets us to 1? Very good, it is 3. If we do something to one side, we must do it to the other. So 27 divided by 3, very good, it is 9. So when Margaret walks just 1 dog, she can earn $9. If you've already done that problem, it's okay. Let's go ahead and look at number 8. You may have also done this one as well, maybe in class. Miss Headley told you to do it. We're going to go over it again. So let's look at number 8. Number 8 says a hummingbird travels at a constant rate of 5 meters per second. I'm going to abbreviate both seconds and meters. How far will it travel in 2 minutes? Now, I know that I have to go from seconds to minutes. Let's go ahead and make that conversion now. I know that there are 60 seconds in 1 minute, and I can represent this as a unit rate. And if I want to get 2 minutes, because I'm trying to figure out how far the hummingbird travels in 2 minutes, I need to multiply, so times 2. If I do it to one side, I must do it to the other. 60 times 2 is 120. So I will be taking this 5 meters per second and multiplying it by the 120 total seconds. I will give you a moment to go ahead and solve this. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 2 is 10. Be sure to carry your 1. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6. 600 meters in 2 minutes. If I were to write this as a proper ratio, I would say 600 to 2. 600 meters per 2 minutes. This is a rate. Still on page 137, let's do 2 bonus problems right quick. Let's do number 6, and then we'll do number 9. Let's start with number 6. Number 6 says a bird travels 16 meters in 10 seconds. 16 meters in 10 seconds. Find the unit rate in meters per second. Instead of doing a double number line, I'm going to make it a little bit easier on myself. I know that I'm trying to get per second, so per 1 second. 10 divided by what gets us to 1? Very good, it is 10. If I do it to one side, I must do it to the other. So now I'm going to do 16 divided by 10. In case you're wondering how to do that, here we will use our division house. So 16 divided by 10. 10 cannot go into 1, so I will put a 0. However, it can go into 16 one time. 1 times 10 is 10. 16 minus 10 leaves us with 6. Now, I'm out of numbers, but I have a remainder. I don't want a fraction this time. So what I'll do is I'll make a decimal. When I make this decimal to add a 0, I will add my decimal up here to my quotient. I'll bring down this 0 and say 60. I know that 10 can go into 60 6 times. 6 times 10 is 60, and 60 minus 60 is 0. Because I've now achieved an answer of 0, I look at my quotient. My answer is 1.6. So 1.6 meters per 1 second. That is the unit rate of how far the bird travels per 1 second. Now let's look at number 9. Number 9 says a shop rents kites for $10 for 8 hours. So I'm going to go ahead and do my ratio. $10 for 8 hours. Must be a really fun activity to do it for 8 hours. If the shop charges the same amount for each hour, how much would it cost to rent a kite for 6 hours? It would be a little difficult to go backwards from 8 to 6. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a double number line for this problem. If you have another way of doing it, or if you would rather do it mentally, that is awesome. But I'm going to do it this way. Here I have my amount of money, and down here I will do my hours. So here's what I'm going to do first. You can rent a kite for 8 hours, and it's $10. I am going to go backwards. That way I can find my unit rate. Unit means what? It means 1. Very good. So to go backwards from 8 to 1, I need to divide by 8. 8 divided by 8 is 1. If I do it to one side, I must do it to the other. 10 divided by 8. In case you're wondering how to do that, I will demonstrate it real quick. Just like we did earlier. 8 can't go into 1, so I'm going to put a 0. But it can go into 10 one time. 8 times 1 is 8. 10 minus 8 is 2. Uh-oh, I'm out of numbers, so I'm going to add a decimal and a 0. I will bring down that 0. And I know that 8 can go into 20 2 times, making 16. So 8 times 2 is 16. 20 minus 16 is 4. 8 can't go into 4, so I would add another 0, bringing it all the way down to be 40. And 8 can go into 40 5 times. 5 times 8 is 40. 40 minus 40 is 0. So my final answer for this would be 1.25 or $1.25. So in 1 hour, you would have to pay $1.25 to rent this kite. Let's revisit our problem. A shop rents kites for $10 for 8 hours. If the shop charges the same amount for each hour, how much would it cost to rent a kite for 6 hours? So I'm going to figure out the cost per 6 hours. 8 to 1. I can see that I didn't do enough lines, so I'm just going to do that now. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can always add lines. All right, now, in order to get from 1 to 6, I'm going to have to multiply. 1 times 6 is 6. So whatever I do to one side, I must do to the other. So I'm going to do $1.25 times 6. Let's go over here and do that math real quick. Remember to use a dot for multiply. 5 times 6 is 30. Carry your 3. 2 times 6 is 12. Plus 3 is 15. And then 6 times 1 is 6. Plus 1 is 7. Don't forget to bring that decimal point straight down. $7.50. If you wanted to rent a kite for 6 hours from this business, it would be $7.50. That is all for the review on page 137.